Hello gamers and welcome back to the channel. Today we are taking it back a decade as we put Spider-Man Remastered to the test on a 10-year-old GPU, the legendary GTX 980. Can this card still hold up in 2024 or is it ready to hang up the cape? Let's find out as we push it from 1080p low to high settings without any FSR to help it out, to see what this classic powerhouse can still deliver in 2024. A little trip down memory lane. Back in 2014, Nvidia launched the GTX 980 at an MSRP of $500 US. Yeah, that's right, there was a time when high-end GPUs didn't cost a kidney. The GTX 980 was one of Nvidia's flagship models, packed with 4GB of VRAM, 2048 CUDA cores, and a base clock of 1204 MHz. Some models even came overclocked, thanks to brands like MSI. Now, in 2024, this GPU can be scooped up for as low as $50 or $70 to $90 if you're after the beefed-up TI version. For the spec junkies, here's a quick rundown of the GTX 980's capability. I've got the full specs on screen. If you are thinking about picking up this card, make sure to check out my other videos to see if it's the right fit for you. Alright, let's dive into the gameplay and see if this old GPU can still swing with the best of them in Spider-Man Remastered 2. If you like what you see, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel as I help it go a long way. Thank you. We started things off at 1080p on low settings to see how this decade-old GTX 980 would handle Spider-Man Remastered, and honestly, it crashed it. You were getting a smooth 65 to 75 FPS without a single hiccup. No lag, no stuttering, just buttery smooth gameplay. The card handled the fast-paced action scenes like a pro, keeping up with Spider-Man swings and web slinging through the entire city with ease. Now, for those of you wondering about the visuals, let's be real. 1080p low isn't exactly jaw-dropping by today's standard, but it still packs enough details to pull you into the game. Shadows and textures held up decently, and while you might notice a few mixing textures here and there, it's nothing that breaks the immersion unless you are specifically looking for it. Overall, the setup gives you a surprisingly solid level of details for a GPU that's a full decade old. So far, I'm genuinely impressed with how well this card is performing, but let's not stop here. We are going to take it up a notch and see just how much more we can squeeze out of the GTX 980 as we move to higher settings. Stick around, it's about to get interesting. We kicked it up a notch to 1080p on medium settings, and I'll be totally honest here, I thought this would be where the GTX 980 might start to struggle. At first, it looked like my suspicions were right. The game crashed as soon as the settings were applied, but after a quick reset, the card surprised me in the best way possible. With medium settings, we were hitting a steady 50 to 60 FPS, still with no input lag, no frame skipping, and incredible smooth gameplay. Let me tell you, the visual difference was a game changer. Medium settings brought out a whole new level of details, especially in textures and particle effects, floors, building surfaces, and even Spider-Man's suit looked noticeably richer and sharper. And those particle effects that were barely visible on low settings came to life here. I was genuinely impressed with how much more the GTX 980 could deliver. Even after a rough start, the card isn't just hanging in there, it's putting up a fight. But we are not done yet. Let's see what happens when you push it further. Stay tuned, the best might yet to come. The best might be yet to come. And also, if you enjoy the breakdown, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. It helps the channel a lot. Thank you so much for getting this far. After the solid performance at medium settings, I was confident that the GTX 980 would handle 1080p on high settings, at least for a playable experience. And I was right. At high settings, the card delivered a range of FPS, generally sitting between 40 to 60 FPS and occasionally dipping to around 38. But there is a catch here. During this test, we started indoors, where the demand on the GPU aren't as intense, and in those close quarter scenes, the game performed smoothly and the frame rate stayed comfortably high. However, once we stepped outside into the open world, the FPS dropped to around 30 to 40 FPS. Even so, I'm impressed to report there were no input lags in both indoor and outdoor tests. Everything stayed responsive and smooth. Visually, high settings brought yet another level of immersion. Details in textures and particle effects were noticeably richer than on medium, making every surface and effect look more lifelike. From the reflection in windows to the dust particles in the air, the level of details really draws you into the game. The GTX 980 is proving to be surprisingly capable for its age, but we are not done yet. Stay tuned as we push it. Stay tuned as we push the limits further and see what this GPU has in store. Is it gonna crash? Let's see. And finally, we cranked it up all the way to 1080p very high settings. Even after a full decade, the GTX 980 still showed flashes of its beastly potential. At first, things were a bit rough, with frames dropping to around 25 FPS, but after a few moments, it settled in, delivering frames between 25 to 60 FPS. This wide range posed some challenges, especially during close quarters tests, where the frame rates just held on, but the real test came when we ventured into the open world. Here, FPS took a dive, dropping between 10 to 60 FPS with noticeable stuttering and drops, so very high settings are definitely out of the question for smooth gameplay. That said, the visuals at this level are top notch. The details was breathtaking, with refined textures, sharp shadows and particle effects that really brings the game's atmosphere to life. Input lag wasn't an issue, but unfortunately frame skips and stuttering did appear even in close quarter scenes. The GTX 980 might be showing its age at max settings, but it's still remarkable how much this card can handle in 2024. Want to see where this card performs best and recommendation for the optimal settings? Hit that like button, subscribe, and stick around. Let's find a sweet spot for together, shall we? In conclusion, the GTX 980 has truly surprised me today. Despite being a decade old, this GPU still delivers a solid performance in Spider-Man Remastered at 1080p. On low and medium settings, it provides smooth, immersive gameplay, proving that even a budget-friendly older card can keep up in 2024. When we moved to high and very high settings, the GTX did struggle, especially in open world scenes where frame rates took a hit. So, is it worth using the GTX 980 in 2024? Absolutely! With the right settings, this card still packs a punch and offers great visual fidelity for its price. If you're looking for an affordable way to play some big titles, the GTX 980 is a solid choice. Thanks for joining me on this test. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments if there's any other classic GPU you'd like to see tested here. Catch you in the next one. Oh, and if you have any GPU you want to get rid of, I am always open to receive them, test them. You might never know who it would help in the comment sections below. Thank you guys for sticking with me this far. If you made it this far, you were a legend. Type in the comment section, I am a legend. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.